tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang dhammang sanghang namasami. First of June, years have gone, and as always around June we're turning our attention to the rains retreat. And, it's also a bit of a timing for people coming and going. And in a small community, sometimes just a few people, it feels like a big difference. And Brahmacharya has been here for a year and a half, and he's gone out to Bodhiwana. So I thought, well, the good topic is of tonight is communal living, and a topic that comes up a lot in the Ajahn tradition, learning how to live with each other. And it's not always easy. Because in the lay world, we do what we want. We structure our life in the way that we like to do it. When you come into a monastery, you live very close to others. And it's normal. We have very different habits, different personality. And so from time to time, we get on each other's nerves. And that's the nature of living together. But what's helpful, as you might know, Brahmacharya and I are very different for each other. He's very specific and more kind of big picture. And I'm sure he got on my nerves a few times, and I'm sure I got on his nerves a few times. And but the main thing I want to appreciate about Brahmacharya is that he's working. As a monk, obviously you undertake the training. We're trying to improve. But sometimes, and that is with the good intention of want to train and with respect, mutual respect for each other. But sometimes we are just blind. Some things, you'll do that was it's like when you go to just pointing with nubs, I'm like I'm bad mouthing him when it's not me, he knows it already. We talked about it. And when you join a monastery, you kind of fit in, I think. But sometimes we had this yoga thing. So we do yoga in office. And I'm like, oh no, take you to the office. I thought, well, yes, if you're in you shouldn't do yoga after the chanting. So if I go in here and sit in meditation, you stick in the bone in my face or something. It's not a good time. So little things like that, just to be aware. And that's so much of it's part of communal living. It's just being aware of your effect on others. Of course yoga is a good thing, you need to stretch, you need to do something, but it's like, well, how am I affecting what I want to do, affect others? He obviously talked about it. But I thought, you're sitting there, this year I could do yoga a bit, get a bit sleepy in the morning, Ajahn, so I do some yoga. It's like, I guess that's true, it's going to be a lot to it. But, and it's that little bit of our personality, a little bit of what we want to do versus, the communal, whether it makes a good impression or whether it helps along. And so I always try to remind people, even long-term guests, stay for long-term, it is a privilege to be here. It's not a right. And when you start to think that you have a right to stay here and you start to do weird things, funny things, then it's good to remember that. And sometimes you will be asked just to move on, move to a different place and see what that feels like. If you don't kind of value staying here, in the sense that, the normal thing is, if you're going to stay here more than 1 month, show up to morning chanting, evening chanting, show up 10 minutes early, help set up, put things away, not difficult, it's not rocket science. It's just kind of little things like that that help. First is the training. Where am I? What I should be doing? What time is it? Instead of getting lost in our own thoughts, ideas, when you get here early, and you make good examples of people who come, who visit for the day. Whether it's that it is a place where people are serious about the training, but people are awake and aware. They're not caught in their own little world of doing different things. And as always, obviously being in a monastery, there is aspects of the monastery that is worldly. As a senior monk, to run a monastery like any organization, kitchen is to work, thing is to be maintained. And the second thing is it's also a spiritual place where people come and to train in wholesome qualities, to relinquish unwholesome qualities. And sometimes the two have to match together somehow. But it doesn't always have to be kind of in contradiction actually. Because obviously, as an organization, as a business, we don't have to grow 20% or whatever. We don't have to make a profit or anything. We're not profit. But we do have to make sure things work, obviously. Make sure that, fridges are working, make sure you're serving food that is not rotten, make sure, the cars are looked after, the coochies looked after. So there's aspect of that has to be done. And that involves, having people to work together to do things. And it's always, it's always helpful. And in terms of the spiritual practice, it's always to do things that are not asked. To look around. You can't go around cleaning the shrine. Shrine can be cleaned 3 times a day, no problem. You can't go around sweeping around the sala, putting things away. That can always be done anytime. Can't go wrong, cleaning the toilets, looking out the kitchen, things like that, without being asked, unless you're assigned a thing, then you don't do it. So it's not very nice if you stay somewhere and you do the minimum. I do my 2 hours and I do everything else separately. And then technically, yeah, sure, that's all we ask. But in terms of a practice, it's, as you understand the law of karma, you only get what you give. The goodness flows back. Nothing is lost. And this idea that I've got to do my own thing, that I do the bare minimum for the communal and save everything for myself, it's just not a very wholesome or pleasant way to live in a monastery or anywhere. So it's good to always look around, to help out, to do the extra thing where you can. And if anything, it's just, I was talking to the phone this morning, a lot of this is common sense. But the problem these days is common sense is not that common, unfortunately. You think, well, you come to a place, buildings are there, people have to build it for us, put in, the least we can do is look after it as best we can, and go the extra mile to help out where you can. But sometimes it's not so obvious if you are caught up in your own head, I suppose. And that's what part of so much of the training is, just to go beyond our little focus of our attachment of your little world that you control and want to control, and look around in terms of the wider existence of other people, the wider existence of the monastery, of the community around you, and to see how you can be of service, how you can be of help to others, to ways to either add happiness and comfort to other people's lives, or at least reduce the suffering of others around us. And much of it is just, being present, being aware, be sensitive to how your presence affects others. Hopefully you try to aim for a more positive experience, as opposed to some people. It is a small monastery, so it's usually very hopeful that we can work together. But if there's only 5 people and 2 people are in their own little world and we have to work around you, then it just makes it difficult to get things going. And it's fine. In the monastery, we can understand that not everybody can look at the issues they're working with, and people will help where they can, and some people are more helpful than others, and that's fine. But generally, yeah, it's always a good thing to try to go the extra 10%. Try to help out, at least to offer help where you can. And obviously, if you are not feeling well, not feeling focused, then of course, do what you can. But so much of communal living, and it is part of the training. Being a monk for about 20-something years, I've seen hundreds of people coming through. Different people stay longer, some stay not so long, and yeah, we've got our own common inclinations, but generally the one that are kind of more open, more helpful, easy to live with. It's important. We all live together. We all have to be with each other. Whether it's a year, whether it's 5 years, whether it's 3 months, and hopefully you leave a positive impression of the community when you leave. In the sense that so-and-so was helpful, so-and-so was easy to live with. Yeah, so as a senior monk, I'm not really looking for the best meditator, not looking for the best chanter, not looking for a great super duper monk. Really, in the community, so much easier to live with. What that means? Easy to be with. I don't have to feel like I have to tread lightly around them because they've got these issues I have to worry about. I don't feel like I have to always work around them, but I can always work with them. And yes, I was saying before, using brahmacharya, obviously not as a personality, but it's just an example that we're different, but we can still learn to work together. And the funny thing is that usually, and I've been doing this long enough to know that sometimes it works out this way, that only after a year and a half that you learn to live with each other, and then it's time to move on. And you're going to tell people, okay, this is how the pump works, this is how the toilet works, it totally works like this. Next group. And yeah, I get it. This is kind of my comic thing. Being in a small monastery, that there is a high turnover. Every year there's a new team, and you start over again. The church works like this, so the system works like this, and it's fine. It is what it is. And except I've always been in a big monastery, and that's got its issue as well. So then there's no perfect place, as some of you know by now, seeing different places. The bigger monastery runs more smoothly, but there's 100 people every day running around, so you gotta manage that. So but so much of the practice is learning to adapt to the situation, learning to perceive what's around you, to adapt and to contribute in a way that's positive. And to grow in wholesome qualities, to grow in generosity, gratitude, to grow in restraint, grow in peacefulness, whatever ways you can. And luckily with the Ajahn tradition, we're quite flexible. There is not one method of meditation you have to do. There's not a certain thing. It's quite a big mold that you can fit into and do your own thing. And if you visit other monasteries, you'll see, by the way, that in the overall the Ajahn Chah tradition, there is a lot of variety that you can encounter in each different monasteries, and that is a good thing. But also in terms of the training, it's good that you have a positive impression, or at least a respect for the senior monk, because it's like this: if you don't take what I say seriously, then you won't change. You won't change, and you won't train in the good, wholesome politics. So if you stay somewhere, you're like, no, well, my teacher is blah blah blah, so they're over there somewhere. Then it's just a bit odd, because and I've seen this over time again, that everybody, most of us are very stubborn. So even when you live with a great master that you love and respect, people barely change, and that's with the people that they really love and respect. If you live with somebody who you don't have that same kind of feeling, then it's almost impossible for you to change and see your own defilements, your own obstacles. So it's important that to have a level of respect, have a positive impression of the monks that you're living with, or develop perception of wholesomeness. Obviously, we live with each other over time. It's easy to fault find. It's easy to nitpick, oh, this person is really annoying, this person is doing that weird thing. And it's normal. But so much of the training is trying to focus on what is positive, try to focus on what is wholesome. That way, when you're giving teaching, you learn to let go of your own attachment and to grow in wholesome qualities. And it's not an easy thing. Like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years, and it's just change. For most people, it's difficult unless you've got the spiritual qualities of the great meditation master. We change, in very gradual ways, and that's why it takes thousands and thousands of lifetimes to really let go completely of our attachment that we accumulate over different lives. And so that's why it's kind of, sometimes you see that people come and they have different ideas. And it's fine, you want to be open. But after a while, it's like, well, yeah, you should go to live with your master, and that's where the faith lies. Otherwise, you're not really helping. And sometimes people have this idea that, no, you're a monastery, you should go open to everybody. Well, sort of. But we're not a homeless shelter. It is, like I said, a privilege to be here, and we are trying to train together. But there is also kind of a minimum standard that obviously, you can have a different master, but I'm being practical, there should be overcompensating qualities. You're either a great kitchen manager, a great builder, strive, work really hard, okay, then you can have odd habits. But you have odd habits, you can't really work in the kitchen, you can't do anything, well, it's like, okay, come on. So that's what I was saying, there is the practical aspect of running monastery. I would say there's a spiritual aspect of it as well. And being a senior monk, I am trying to err on the side of being open, err on the side of giving you the benefit of the doubt, err on the side of allowing people to work through their obstacles, and knowing that it is not an easy thing, knowing through watching others, watching myself, that we are just stuck in a way, and it's hard for us to let go of certain things, let go of what we take to be ourselves. And like I said, everybody deep down believe, I know what I'm doing, and I know that. Everybody thinks, I know what I'm doing. Yes, I know that. I know you have that feeling, you know what you're doing, and that's fine. We all do. But there's also a large sense of delusion around that, and that's why communal living helps. And that's why I see as well that it's not necessarily, like I said, a bad thing when we meet different personality and we start to rub against each other. Because then you can also see your blind spot, you can see your preferences, you can say, oh, I didn't think I was attached to how what the kitchen looked like. Oh, it looks very different now. That's interesting. Oh, okay, never mind. Or however, we do our things. Sometimes, another thing we need to remind it, like as a monk, lady might think, oh my God, these monks have it so easy. Every morning you get coffee brought to you, you get this, but actually, you ask most monks, people prefer to make their own stuff because you make it just the way you like, as opposed to getting it different ways. And sometimes as a monk, I have to remind them, as a monk, you don't really get to make your own thing, and you just take what people give you, and don't say too much about it. And so that's part of the other thing. With the young monk, you have to make your own things. Like, no, you can't make your own thing. I mean, here you can, because you run up to the kitchen, run down again. And you can say, well, it's less work for Annie Garrica. They don't have to make my train, I can make my own train, and we're all happy. They don't have to work, I get what I want, everybody's happy. And there's certain logic to it, but the deeper logic is that actually it's not about getting exactly your tea and exactly how. Sometimes it is just to accept what people offer with gratitude and knowing that yes, it may not be a perfect cup of tea, it may not be a perfect cup of coffee, but they're doing the best they can, and it is also a deep reminder that we are staggered. Once you ordain into one's life, it's nice to give us a lot of stuff, but like I say, at the heart of it, we don't have any right to it either. It is all by generosity. It's all through the work of the Buddha, through the qualities of Ajahn and Ajahn who come and offer this to us. So sometimes just remind ourselves that none of us here have a right to all the unending offerings, that we should also accept it with gratitude. And actually, you appreciate sometimes, when I was a young monk, remember that I think Ajahn Brahm, who have a different upatak every week. As a young one, you're like, how do you wait till I become a senior monk? Someone look after me every week. But now, from the senior monk, those poor guys, every week their tea's made differently. Sometimes it's hot, sometimes it's cold, sometimes it's bitter, but never complain, they just take it. They never heard about it. And when you report to a Dhammo, you never hear them complain about anything. And sometimes you feel the tea is like, oh, I think someone forgot to heat up the water or something. But he never says anything regarding it, he always takes it. And that's something that you see that that's the training that happens as a monk, that you begin just to want to let go of the little preferences you might have, your ideas of what is good, and just to learn to develop a mind of appreciation, a mind of gratitude for all that's given. And that's where growth in the Dhamma is. Because unless the mind is open, the mind is soft and appreciative, it's going to always be locked into these own things and obsessions of how we want things to be, how we want the world to be, what we want out of life, what we want out of the monastery, what we want out of others. It is just the nature of the human condition, the nature of craving to look out in the world as a reflection of what we want out of it. But the Dhamma practice is not about that. It's about how do we learn to adapt to the world around us. How do we learn offer all that is positive? How do we grow in the Dhamma? How do we grow in wholesome qualities? And in order to do that, we have to step outside of ourselves, step outside of our perception, our attachment, our wanting, our longing. And it's not easy. It certainly takes a lot of encouragement, and because we're all stuck in our lane. But we are here hopefully to train. We are here to want to grow in wholesome qualities. And hopefully we all can play a positive part of each of our journey, whether it's just for a few months, a few years, or for a long, long time. It's hard to know. But from where I'm sitting, some people might think, oh, I'm sitting here. Okay, well, I do travel back and forth. But mainly sitting in one place for the last 15, 16 years, it's actually been quite interesting. And you find that you adapt more sitting in one place because of the come and go of other people than moving around yourself. You might think, oh, moving around you have to adapt, but actually staying in one place and just seeing, how the community changes based on different members who are here, how they affect the life in the monastery, how we affect each other. It's been kind of a very interesting journey, and it's also been a great way to practice, to learn to adapt to different personalities, to learn to give instruction, give guidance in a way that will be accepted. People don't feel offended or defensive. People are open and find different ways. Sometimes some people need a bit more structure. Sometimes you will need a good kick in the backside from time to time. And it's hard to know, like, did I do that? But then sometimes, I don't know what this teacher says. So sometimes you really know about a person when you kick them out. Once you kick them out, you say, are they really a good practitioner or not? Usually, like I said, nothing is permanent. Whatever, you can always come back, but see what happens. And if you're a good practitioner, it shouldn't be the only place that you can live. You can live anywhere. There's hundreds of monasteries around that you learn to adapt, easy to live with, you can go anywhere. And that is the draw of being a good community, a draw of being a good monk. That if you're a good monk, one monastery doesn't want you, you can go literally any monastery and you'll be accepted. Because we learn to adapt, we learn to live with others, we learn to contribute in a positive way. We're not learning to, I gotta do my own way, with this, or I do that way. Or I can't go show up morning chanting, I only do this. Or I have to have morning chanting, I can't practice on my own. No, the thing is to adapt. There are hundreds of monasteries in the world, in Australia. If you learn to adapt, you can live anywhere. So sometimes some people get fixated on have to be in this place, that place. No. And most of you know, you've been enough monasteries, you know, if you are a good lay person, a good monk, even busy monastery will make place for you. If you are difficult to live with, then even monasteries who aren't so busy are also full. It's just the nature of reality. You might say, it's not very nice, but it is what it is. Because at the end of the day, monasteries are also organizations that need to function in a way, and in a certain way as well. So the point is that so much of the practice is on a daily level of learning to live with each other, live with different people, learning to be someone who is easy to be with, easy to work with, easy to live with. And that should be the basic, should be the foundation of our spiritual journey, of our spiritual kind of growth. And once you do that, then I think other things will fall into place easily. So it is just kind of growing together, learning to support each other. And then it is through the communal harmony that you also achieve the internal harmony within yourself. You learn to, with the community, you can learn to open up, allow the deeper attachments, you to see them, to let that go. Unless there is a certain level of communal harmony, unless there's a certain level of communal stability in your own life, then it's hard to work on the deeper stuff. But it does, like I said, it does take time. It takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of commitment to really admit that, oh yeah, I could have done that better. I could have been more helpful that way. But never mind, we're all kind of learning to work with ourselves, work with others, what we can. But it's also a journey that, that brings a lot of joy, brings a lot of happiness to yourself and to others around you. It's something that's worthwhile. And it's something I always said, I can't see any other way of training. The 5 year in the community, learning to live in the community first, before you go to the deeper stuff. If you can't, there is no shortcut. You can't run off to a cave and sit until your flesh rots and your blood dry up and become a enlightened. For 99.9%, that's just not working. I see so many people try that. Oh, I don't know, Ajahn, I'm not crazy with this community. I didn't ordain to be in the kitchen. I didn't ordain to, I don't know, pull weeds or put roofing sheets on the roof. I ordained to meditate. And then run off somewhere. And yeah, they come back. About the same. A bit more stories, about trouble. But the path is about growing wholesome quality. The path is about being a spiritual companion to others. So, I said too much. So I offer that for your reflection today.
Wow.